Alright everyone, goofy times again. Yes, today we start off talking about Trump's warning with regards to the automotive industry, his suggestion of how to stave off a potential bloodbath within that particular industry as well, and the leftoid response, the propagandistic astroturfed response that you saw online. It's continuing actually right now. It continues. Started yesterday. What Trump was warning of was that if he's not reelected, the automotive industry is going to experience a bloodbath, economically speaking. That is that foreign imports, a nation like China can produce really cheap cars, and without any form of protection against that, the U.S. automotive industry can get laid waste to effectively. I mean, a nation like China has the ability to manipulate its currency, to manipulate wages and so forth on a centralized level, fix the prices, import them, and if there's no tariff or other form of protection in trade, undercut the U.S. automotive industry entirely. So you wouldn't really see people driving Ford or Chevrolet or something like that because the imports would be so much cheaper that in especially a weakened Bidenomic economy, which will linger through a Trump second term for some time. Trump has one heck of a magic wand, as Obama put it, with regards to economic issues. But the damage is so severe right now, it's going to take a while to reabsorb the inflation. And it'll take a while to reabsorb the border crisis too. I talked about the Venezuelans the other day. Maduro making a wise move. Yeah, I lowered crime in Venezuela by 20%. I sent all of our criminals to the United States. Well, I mean, if you're capable of doing so and you're a foreign leader, wouldn't you do the same thing? You've made things better for your population. You get reelected a lot more easily. You might not even have to fucking cook the polls at the ballot box. Anyway, Trump's solution is to make a 100% tariff on imports, so automotive imports. I am not a lover of tariffs. I'm a lover of free trade. I am very much in favor of that. I believe in classical liberalism. I don't believe in tariffs, generally speaking. The problem is that free trade needs to be free trade on both ends. So if one nation is manipulating and undercutting and doing the underhanded thing, and you're not willing to do anything about it, you get fucked in the end. The United States government is incepted and elected to represent the interests of the U.S. public. That includes millions of people associated with the automotive industry. From salespeople to engineers to designers and architects, the people that goddamn mop the floors at Ford headquarters. There's a lot of people tied up in that. It's a lot of jobs. The United States used to be the automotive muscle. Now it's, well, it kind of depends on the subgroup of vehicles you're talking about. If we do nothing with regards to China's constant manipulative practices, then we will lose bigly, as Trump would put it. You know, you're going to end up with another point of unemployment when all of those people associated with the automotive industry are undercut by the Chinese. A tariff should back China down from its manipulation to the point where we can actually return to free trade. But you have to take that hit in the meantime. Now, the propagandistic element of this. Trump warned of an automotive bloodbath, right? If I'm not elected, you know, the automotive industry is going to be laid waste to. You'll lose 1 million jobs, basically, is the gist of it. And again, his solution, while unpalatable to me on an economic basis, may be necessary. The hope is that the mere threat of such a thing prevents foreign elements, foreign subversives from trying to manipulate U.S. markets. The hope is that you can back them down, and Trump did do this successfully several times. He was capable of parlaying with the Chinese. What do the leftoids on Twitter and elsewhere do? They take the clip and they selectively edit it to make it sound like Trump is saying that if he's not elected, oh, there's going to be a bloodbath. No further context necessary. There's going to be in other words, there's going to be an insurrection, riots, and stuff like that. But that's not what he said. If you provide the proper context, he's quite clearly referring to an automotive bloodbath with regards to the vehicular industry. That is, that the Chinese especially, and other foreign actors, will undercut U.S. markets and you'll see an economic bloodbath. But if you look at the clips that have been selectively edited and clipped, you'd think that he was talking about starting a civil war if he's not elected or something like that. And how funny it was. The fact-checking in real time on Twitter has gotten better, so they're less effective. It spreads a little bit less. The problem is that you'll have a clip like that out of context, and people will take that so-called influencer seriously and spread it around unironically, thinking that it's actually representative of a political reality. Now, quite clearly, it's not. It's not what Trump was referring to in any way, shape, or form. If you watch the full clip, it's clear what he's talking about. It has nothing to do with, hey, if you don't elect me, I'm going to have people shot in the streets or something like that. He's talking about you losing your jobs. But that propagandistic end of it was fascinating. It was fascinating to watch it in real time as it metastasized like a bunch of cancerous tumors. And that's really, that's what was happening. People are spreading it around. The first wave does it malevolently. So they clip it out and say, wow, this is going to be juicy, haha, people are going to love this. And they put it out, they inject it into the public conversation. It starts trending low-key. Other people who trust those influencers who do the selective editing thing, because they don't have the time to fact-check it, because we're in a 15-second news cycle at this point, they spread it around thinking that they know what's just happened, even though they know something that is completely wrong. Something more needs to be done to kneecap people who do that on a habitual basis, because there's a certain gang of idiots that has a tendency to be more guilty than others with regards to that. Anyway, and now the real news is broken, which is that Trump is warning of an automotive collapse, a bloodbath in that particular market, should he not be reelected. I don't know that it will happen on a bloodbath level scale. That's a sort of a malleable and an interpretable term. But it would be bad. I will tell you this. If Donald Trump is not reelected, the economy will suffer a continuous downturn. We've already seen the result of Bidenomics. There's no reason to believe that it's going to move in any other direction than the one it's been steadily moving into for 3 years now. And it's not a positive direction. It's a negative one. Under Donald Trump, sans the lockdownerism, which wasn't even federal level, for the most part that was enacted by state governments, stupidly, at the time. Other than that, the economy was doing nominally fine. Unemployment got down to a low level. The border crisis, well, I mean, it was still a border crisis, but it was at an order of magnitude less than it is under Joe Biden. That put strain on the economy. You did have an attempt to address the issue of Chinese currency manipulation, trade manipulation, etc. Again, I don't agree with tariffs. I don't like their existence. But if another country is tariffing your goods, fixing wages, fixing prices, dumping subsidies to try to overrun one of your key industries, and they do this habitually, you do have to do something to address that. We can't sit back and say, well, the U.S. has the biggest economy, so we can weather it and take the pain. Yeah, but when 100 countries are doing that to you and screwing you at the same time, it doesn't matter if you're being a little bit screwed. You know, you've got 100 cocks in your ass. They're only going in a couple of inches, but there's 100 of them. Probably an uncomfortable situation, depending on your sexual proclivities, right? That's just the way that it is. It's just a little bit of screwing. Well, yeah, it's death by 1,000 cuts, to use the old moniker. Trump understands this, addressed it when he was president. He's pledging to address it again through a methodology that should never have to be used, but in some situational cases must be used. That's all he's talking about. He's not talking about a bloodbath literally in the streets if he's not elected or something like that. He's talking about the automotive industry, and, you know, some people willfully misinterpreted that and selectively edited the clip. They got fact-checked big time, but the left-wing media ran with it anyway. Oh my God, Trump promises to have people executed in the streets if he is not returned to power. Quite clearly, insane, dictatorial, authoritarian Trump means to start a civil war if he's sour grapes over not being elected in the second most fair election of all time after 2020 or something like that. But I don't think he needs to worry too much about that. If I look at the polling numbers, if the election were held today, Trump would soar to victory. He'd probably get all the competitive states and then maybe pick up Maine or Virginia. So at this particular moment in time, with the velocity in his favor as well, I don't think he has too much to worry about. Also, you got that Kamala Harris WAPO bit there with Kathleen Parker. We'll have to talk about that later. That's about all. Peace out.